everyone, this is Lindy. Welcome to Kitten Crossing. This is my channel dedicated to all things cross stitch. I'm so excited to have you here today. I have a little bit of everything from a stitchy related finish to some mini finishes, lots of progress on my whips, and then a tiny haul for my trip to Japan and Korea. And I'll be wrapping it up with some new starts and plans for December. So before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you so much if you watched, commented, liked, subscribed for my last video. I really appreciate all the support, and I'm really excited to be here to connect with the cross stitch community and make some more videos tracking my project progress. So with that, we can get started on my first fully finish. I just wanted to make a note that it is a sewing project, and it's been a while since I sewed. Like, this would have been my third time. The very first time I learned, I made an apron with my neighbor who taught me how to use a sewing machine. I learned on her machine, which I was very grateful to inherit after my neighbor Betty couldn't sew anymore. And I spent a lot of my time before starting this project actually setting up the sewing machine. It was like 50% what I remembered from what she taught me, and then the other 50% consulting the manual. And so that ate up a lot of my time. And then I tried a little bit on like some scrap fabric, but mainly I just went for it because I felt like sometimes it's just better to start the project instead of ideating. And so I just want to say this is very scrappy looking. It's very a first draft. I'm hoping to make some more to improve on my sewing. But with that said, I can show you my little needle book. And so this is the front and then the back. And then it's got these functioning pockets, which are so exciting. The back side of my pockets hold my needle threaders. And then my needles, of course, this is my my size 26 needles, and then my size 24 needles. And then the front pocket holds like my scissor and my thread ripper. And it's so cute. It functions. To make this needle book, I ended up using the tutorial here on YouTube by Learn, Create, Sew. She has a really comprehensive tutorial. I think like 2 videos. One is like a project overview video, and the second one is a step-by-step tutorial. And then on her blog, which she links in her video, she has the material list and then a PDF to print out the pattern for this project. It was for a beginner, it was so easy to follow. I really enjoy that tutorial and recommend it if you're interested in making your own needle book. I do really want to continue practicing more, and especially as I get a little bit more comfortable sewing again, I would love to expand this needle book, because as you can see, my scissors and my needle threader just sticks out a little bit. So it'd be nice if it was slightly larger. Not necessarily for the needles, it functions in keeping all my needles in one place, which is the most important aspect of this and what I needed. So that's really it. Oh, and this was my first time working with iron-on interfacing. There's even batting in this. So learning how to do all that was really fun. I had a lot of fun working on this project, and I ended up really needing this because I got really tired of my needles getting knocked off my needle minders. I do really need a stronger needle minders, but even then it just tends to get lost in my tote bag and I have to search for it. Or one time when I was transporting my project from one room to the other, my project, my needle fell on the floor and I didn't notice, and luckily the cats didn't get to it. But with having cats, I'm always just really stressed about my needle and thread. So I really needed a place to like keep it all in one place. I know exactly how many needles I have out, and after each project these needles are always put in here, so they're never just loosely hanging out on my project or in my bags. And yeah, it's so cute. The fabric, I just ended up getting a fabric from the remnant section of my local fabric store. And so this is the label. And yeah, it works great. This also, it came with a lot for like being a remnant fabric, so I have a lot more material to continue practicing, and this fabric will also be great on a project that I'll mention shortly. And so, oh, and then I also have extra batting and some extra felt, so I definitely have a lot of excess material to work with. So now for finishes. This was originally, when I was outlining for this video, this was on my plans, so you can tell how overdue this video was. I had just a lot of technical issues the past few weeks, and then adjusting from travel has been rough. But when I came back, I realized there was a stitching event called Jingle Ball. At first I was kind of dismissive because I thought this was going to be a physical retreat, and then I was watching other videos of people mentioning it, and then I just ended up watching Stephanie from Lindy Stitches, their like Jingle Ball 101 video, and realized it was a virtual event. I was really happy to see that it was a virtual event because that means I can try and make it. By the time that I discovered the Jingle Ball, which was like around Halloween, most of the kidded classes were sold out, but that was fine. I would be able to kit up most of them, and so I ended up just signing for one class. I didn't want to get too overwhelmed, especially since this will be my first time attending. And so the class that I ended up choosing is the Chicken Mittens class by Lindy Stitches. I thought it would be perfect for my first ever attendance of Jingle Ball to take a class with the creator of the ball. I'm really excited for the class. I wanted to get at least one of the patterns stitched just in case I wanted to follow along the day of the class. I'm not sure if I will do it or not, just because it's so early for the West Coast time, and I do still need to get the lining material, but we will see. So this is my finishes so far. I finished the chicken on the ice skates. It's so cute, and I did decrease the amount of the ice, and I think it still looks great. And then I completed the swan. I really love the colors of the, like, how the green contrasts with the white swan. It's very pretty. And then I just last night I finished like the little stars and the outline of the butterfly, and then got started on working on the green one. And I really love the butterflies. I might make a second one to gift and then another to keep. I feel like Christmas butterflies are not something I've seen, so it feels very unique to me. One thing I am planning on is to make for the class, the pattern is for 5 different mittens. I'm planning on making 6 and maybe even 7. We'll see if I have enough fabric left over for 7. I'm not sure. I definitely can fit 6 on this. I just wanted to make some extra to be able to gift for Christmas. So yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. I really wanted to take a class to motivate me on making some finishes and seeing some different techniques on finishing some cross stitch projects other than just like framing and hanging it up. So I think making ornaments will be really, really fun. So that was all my mini finishes for the month. I really enjoyed having some smaller projects to work on, especially since most of my whips are pretty large. It was a nice break in between some of the larger pieces I have going on. Oh, and one last thing I forgot to mention, this beautiful fabric is a 32 count vintage rose Lugana by Zweigart. And this is my first time trying out a Lugana, and I really like it so far, so I will continue ordering more. I do really like this color. It's just like this marbly light pink, and I really want to order more for some Valentine's Day projects in the next few months. To whips. I'm really excited. I feel like I made a lot of progress over the past few weeks on my whips, and one that I prioritized getting some progress on is my tarot cards. I finally started the full. Before it was just the little bit of rainbow border, but today I finally have a lot more progress to show. So I started on the panda, as you can see. I'm just completing the face. I did most of the hat. I need to do the blue border around it just to complete the entire face, and then in between I like to kind of jump around between the small motifs while I'm filling in. The same with the top of the card. I will say this was a pain. I don't know if it was more of working with like a lighter thread on a dark fabric, but all the pinks, especially the lighter pinks, I found the threads really hard to work with. They kept twisting so much, and I was sometimes frogging and redoing rows just because I felt like it wasn't sitting right. And from far away in this view, it looks pretty neat, but sometimes I feel like I see the gaps more, and I don't know if that's just me staring at the project for too long and it'll just be something that fluffs up after washing. But this was very tedious, and especially doing the black border. I will say that working on black thread on black fabric is pretty rough. So I have still the border here to go. Though as I am filling in, like whether it's the panda or the top of the card, I am just gradually working on the borders of the card, and I'll try to continue making progress on the frame of the piece. I just know that I have to do it like as I go along, or else I'm not gonna have motivation to do it after the card is complete. So yeah, my method for stitching this is I just work on kind of a motif I really want to work on, jump back into filling in the top of the card, and then a little border, jump back into the piece, and just kind of go back and forth, and that's been a method that's really helpful. I am a little bit nervous of having to do this like 24 times, I guess 23. Just this is on the top and bottom of every single card, so I hope in the future cards and when I get to the bottom that the pinks won't be as rough. It was something that I also jumped back into after not stitching for so long after my trip, so it could have been just me like trying to get into the routine of stitching again. But yeah, I feel like the panda is so cute, and I feel like once I started stitching in the pink cheeks, it really livened up the piece even more. I guess I can talk about it more in my plans, but my goal is to have this done at least before the end of the year, and then another card started, so we'll see. So my next whip is a Christmas present that I'm working on. I need to pretty much push it on the top of my priority in the next few weeks. I would like to have it done to just have enough time to wash, press, and frame it. And this is the piece. And in the past few weeks, I was able to finish out the rest of the body, so like the stomach and filling in a little bit of the wing, and then just starting to come down on the borders for each side. So I started the water on both sides and a little bit of the sun, but I think it looks so great. This is a project that I'm having so much fun working on. But I do really need to pick up the pace in the next few weeks. Now that I've done at least one of the patterns for chicken mittens, I can relax on that a bit. I'm not putting too much pressure on myself for that one in terms of having it done as Christmas presents. I just want at least one to be up on my tree for this year, and then the rest is just extra. But this is a high priority present, so this will be definitely high up on the queue for the next few weeks. But I think I can get it done. I did like this upper portion all throughout late August, like at the end of August and all through September, so I feel like I can do the bottom portion through the next few weeks pretty easily. My next whip is a Halloween project that I started before my trip, and I continued to make some progress after I came back. I am really happy with the way that it's looking so far. And this is the Magic Potions pattern by StitchwithCoffee. So I ended up completing a few more of the apples, and then I finally got started on one of the cats. I had done the tail before, and then I just completed the hat and the head, and then I'm filling in the body right now, and then I just did some of the glasses. And one issue that I found out later when I was trying to connect the body to the tail is that the whole head is stitched one place over. It actually was supposed to touch this place, it was supposed to touch the hat, and I didn't discover it until later, but instead of expanding the body one space over, I'm just gonna stitch this straight until it connects to the tail instead of frogging and redoing the whole thing, especially because when I discovered it, I hadn't started the body, but I finished the head, and I felt like something was off and I thought maybe something was wrong with my count on the bubbles, since I've been using the bubbles as a reference for the rest of the piece. And I later just discovered that it was the head, and I've already backstitched, so I did not want to frog. And I found with the linen that it's really hard for me to frog on this without it leaving a huge hole. And so with that, I'm really careful with where I start and trying to be accurate as possible so I don't have to like rip out anything. I don't really know if I'm gonna be shelving this until next Halloween. I do want to finish this piece and have it ready for next Halloween, and not necessarily work on it during Halloween again. So I might just continue, like, after I finish some of my higher priority projects, continue working on this again. I'm also just having so much fun with it. The color choices in this project are so pretty. Like, this apple looks so delicious. I know it's poisonous, but it just looks like the gooey caramel apple on this, and the shading is just so perfect. Another Halloween related whip that I have is Halloween Hijinx by Carolyn. I really did not make that much progress on this. I was mainly working on magic potions when I came back, and then I jumped into my tarot, and then was working on the chicken mittens. So this really fell like on the last of my priorities, but I did finish the boot, and I worked on some more hats, and now I've just jumped over to a new block. This is also a project that I'm not gonna put away, and I think I'll just do a few, like maybe a hat or two and a block per day. It's also something I would like to have done by Halloween, so that I can have it up during the fall instead of working on it during fall. One thing I've been debating is whether I'm going to be like completely putting away my projects for the next season. I don't have a ton of active projects, and I also don't have a lot of finishes. So right now I'm just more focused on finishing the projects I've started. So you might see a little bit more off-season projects, and I thought I was more of a seasonal stitcher, but I think I just want some finishes. And as long as I feel like I enjoy the pattern, the seasonality of it isn't impacting me as much as I thought it would. That was kind of all my whips through October and then this November, and so now we can move on to whips. This is something I should have shown in my first video, but I completely forgot that I had it. And it's actually my first physical pattern. Most of the patterns I bought are usually online, like through Etsy or through online shops, so they're usually just PDFs that I print out. But this is a pattern booklet that I got, and it's All Hallows Eve, designed by Misty Pursel by Luminous Fiber Arts. And it's so cute. I love the little kitty and the moon and the little bird. And I love that the pumpkins look so cute and happy. I think this will be really fun to work on. I don't know if I'm going to start this anytime soon. This might be something I start next fall, but we'll see depending on the mood, what mood I'm in. but I ordered this off of Etsy though, from Hollis Hand Creates. One thing I really love about this is their promo card doubles as a project card, which I think is really neat. I feel like a lot of the times, anytime I order online, I get so much promotional materials and cards and I end up recycling a lot of them. So I feel like this is really smart to have it be functional, so this isn't just something I toss later. And another haul that is not from my trip, but I got when we came back from our trip, we did like a quick grocery run since we didn't really have anything in, and I saw that Trader Joe's had these mini cannabis totes, and they say they're the trick-or-treat cannabis tote bag, but I thought it'd be really cute for like a little fall bag. I usually carry my fanny pack, which I mainly just need for my phone and keys, but sometimes I want to bring my water bottle and a book. I feel like this size tote bag is perfect. And one thing I was thinking of, I don't know when I will do it, but I would really like to cross stitch on this. I think that'd be really fun to do like a fall design all over. And I was thinking of whether doing like a Halloween design on one side and then one like a general fall, or have both sides match. I think that'd be really fun. And one accessory, I didn't intentionally get it for this bag, but it's supposed to go on my bags, are these keychains that I got from Korea, and they are from Wallace and Gromit. If you're not aware, Korea is like obsessed with Wallace and Gromit, especially Gromit. If you go to like any stationery store, they'll usually have like a wall of keychains of just Gromit, and it was harder to find him plainly dressed because usually he's outfitted, like sometimes he's wearing overalls, like a little dress. It's really cute, and I can't really ever find any Wallace and Gromit themed merch here, so it was very fun to see it all over Korea. And so I feel like it'd be really cute on my bag. I feel like they both fit the color of the bag really well. Yeah, so I'm really excited, and I'll also be most likely attaching this also on my fanny pack tab. He's just so cute. Fortunately, I didn't get a chance to make it to many craft stores, both in Japan and Korea. Just basically we spent 1 week in Japan and then 1 week in Korea, and it just was not enough time with all the other stuff we scheduled. But I did get to go to one craft store in Japan, and I picked up this really cute embroidery kit for a coin purse. And we are gonna be on the Shinkansen for a few hours, so I picked this up thinking I could do it on the train, but I later realized I didn't have all the tools for it. It does come with everything, but it didn't come with scissors, and so when I opened up the instructions and everything, it was way more involved, and so I was like, I'll just do it at a later time. But it's so cute. It's just this little polar bear reading like a little bit of a tea or coffee. And I moved it to a Ziploc bag because the original bag it was in is so crinkly. It comes with the pattern printed, and then the fabric for the lining of the inside of the coin purse, and some interfacing, and of course the thread. And then it also comes with the clasp. But yeah, I'm really excited to assemble this at some point. I will need some translation help from my mom and my boyfriend, just because all the instructions are in Japanese. So I don't think it'll be too hard. It's not supposed to be a very complicated project, so yeah, I'm excited. And at the same craft store, I also picked up, I had seen these needles before, and they were a little bit expensive to order here, but they were not as expensive in Japan. And I was really happy and excited to see them, and they're tulip needles. I had seen people mentioning how great they are. I'm really curious to see if that's true and try them out. I got an assortment of sizes so I can try it with different projects. But yeah, I'm really excited, and I will try to update whether I like it or not. Again, from the same store, I got just a little bit cut of fabric. This was a fabric my boyfriend picked out. This really pretty dark green pattern. And then I also, just thinking of the holidays, I got this like red Christmas pattern. It has like deer, holly, like little Merry Christmas on it. I thought it'd be really cute for like an ornament or backing a small project. And then I just was drawn in by the Shibas on this, but it's a really cute pattern of a lot of like motifs of Japanese fabrics and like Japanese themed items. And so I was thinking of trying to do like a cross stitch of whether a Japanese cross stitch designer or a Japan themed cross stitch project to kind of remember the trip, and maybe potentially using this or like one of these fabrics, I think mainly the green one or this, as a way to finish it. So I got these two tools from a stationery store, and one of them is this really adorable mini scissors, and they're perfect for like traveling and throwing it in a little bag, and they're like this and then come out to be scissors. They're very sharp, so I thought those would be really great when I do like small trips and want to bring all my cross stitch stuff. The other thing that I picked up at the stationery store was this small measuring tape, and I've already used it many times and I love it. There's just a button where you can retract it, and this isn't Japanese. I think it says made in Germany, so I think many other places should have it. And I ended up getting this because it fits into my stitching bag really well. Before, I was using this like industrial measuring tape. It's mainly for like home improvement projects, and it's very heavy. It also does not fit in my stitching bag very well, and generally we keep it in the closet. I was getting really tired of going back and forth. And one other thing, in addition to all that, this scares my cats so much. Anytime I bring it out to measure my projects, they run away from this. And at least with this, Momo was staring when I was holding the measuring tape. With this, he's right next to me, I can kind of just go back and forth and it does not scare them. So that is an added bonus that my cats won't run away whenever I'm using this. The only thing is, this is in centimeters only, which isn't a huge issue. So that's it for all my stitching related haul. I did get a ton of other stuff, like I got skincare, makeup, I got a ton of stationery, stickers, my journal for next year, but I wasn't going to show all that because it would have been, I'll make this video super long and I don't think it's very cross stitch related anyway. But yeah, I had a lot of fun and I hope to go back to get more stitchy stuff. We can get started on some of my new starts. With a lot of my patterns being kind of huge pieces, I wanted another small project to work on that contrasts it. So I ended up choosing the Sorry I Can't Go, I'm an Indoor Cat by Samantha Lane Textiles on Etsy, and I'm working on the pattern with a 16 count DMC white Aida. It's just some scrap Aida that I had from a past project, and I just got started on the window borders. I had a craft night with my friend, and so while we were chatting, I was just working on filling in the border. As you can see, I don't have a ton of progress yet, but I want to finish out the border and then start filling it in for the fun part. From the Etsy reviews, there were some people who were doing like a choose your own adventure and changing up the curtain colors and the cat colors. I think I'm going to keep most of it original, though I am debating whether I want to change the curtain colors to a green to contrast with like some of the pinks. But I'll see as I start filling in. But it's so cute. I feel like I really relate to the pattern, especially now that it's getting darker and colder outside and I just want to stay in more. Another thing that is a little bit different for me is, you can see, is the pattern small, and I, instead of starting out with a larger fabric so that I can use my Q snaps, I did cut this out, and it's been a challenge adjusting, like working without a hoop or anything, but it does make it easier to transport, and it's been very manageable, so I think I will be able to get it done. And I feel like the pattern is not as big, so I'll definitely be able to finish this like within December. So moving on to plans, I am planning on starting a new project. This is going to contrast to all my current whips. One thing about a lot of my whips is that there's so many color changes, especially the tarot stitch along. It's very like all the rainbow. I'm constantly jumping through threads, and I wanted a project where I could jump in and not think too much about it. So the pattern that I ended up deciding to go with is Selkie by Maria from Quaterian Creations, and I just kitted it up so I have the 2 threads, and then I'm gonna be working on this really pretty blue fabric. This is Atlantic Country, 32 count Country Atlantic Lugana Murano by Witchlet. It's got these really pretty waves, which will be perfect for the pattern, and I'm hoping to start this next month, especially just on the days I need like a break from doing too many thread changes. Another project that I'm planning on kitting up for next month is the Christmas Town by Emma Congdon, also known as Stitcherova. I already purchased the pattern, and have extra 16 count fabric, so that should be covered. I just need to gather all the floss required for it, and then I can get started on that. I really love the clock tower and the like cozy Christmas village vibes of the pattern, so that'll be really fun to stitch along leading up to Christmas. And then as far as my plans, my Christmas present pattern will be high priority, and then I do really want to finish the full card by the end of this year. It'd be cool to try doing one card a month, so ideally this whole project will be done by the next year, but we'll see, especially with adding so many new projects. I don't know if that would be possible. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much for sticking around this long. I hope my next video isn't too far off from this. And if you're also celebrating Thanksgiving, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving holiday. And I'll see you next time. Bye!